On this episode of Audiobook Club, we cast an ear across Michelle Obama's latest audiobook, The Light We Carry, Overcoming in Uncertain Times. This is what her husband Barack had to say about the process of recording an audiobook.
I've done audiobooks for my first two books, and I think it's a little bit, and I've always got to be careful about this analogy, but maybe it's a little bit like childbirth in the sense that you forget the pain, because there's great joy at the end of it. As a writer, when you're reading, invariably you're going to come across some places where you go, man, I'd like to make an edit right here. And you just got to roll with it. And then there are days where, you're a little tongue-tied. But overall, it's a reminder that the written word, is ultimately a derivative of our voices. And the human voice, I think, maybe can transmit some things that the written page can't.
Hello, I'm Steve Phillips and welcome to another episode of Audiobook Club, the audiobook review and recommendation podcast. On this here episode, we've had to roll out the Audiobook Club red carpet. Not only are we going to be talking about the latest audiobook from former First Lady of the United States, Michelle Obama, we're also privileged to welcome actual audiobook royalty onto our humble pod. Before we greet our esteemed guest, let's go below stairs to meet Audiobook Club's very own scullery maid. From Australia, it's Matt Layton with a feather duster in his hand. Hello, Matt.
Hello, Steve. How are you?
Yes, I pulled that feather duster out from where you stuck it if I were you. Very nice. Put that away. And now, with as much pomp as we can possibly muster, that means buying that fanfare sound effect, Matt. Okay. It's Helena Sheffield from Penguin Audio. Hi, Helena.
Hello, lovely to be here. Thanks for having me.
Lovely. Thank you, and I appreciate you saying it's lovely to be here, because you sound quite genuine.
She ain't heard this mess before, has she?
No, she's not heard this.
She doesn't know what she's in for.
Clearly haven't heard the podcast. So, Senior Marketing Manager at Penguin Random House Audio. So I shall now hand over to Matt for the proceed. Just to let you know, Helena, it's your first time on the podcast. The structure, that comes from Mr. Matt Layton here, and we'll talk about how he works the show for you.
Well, in theory, what we're going to do is try and review The Light We Carry by Michelle Obama. But before we do that, we have a little feature that we call Notes. I wanted to call it Notes in the Margin, and Steve in his genius way called it Notes from the Margin. And what it is we are going to use this feature. Normally, we are discussing with audiobook fans the different aspects of actually listening to audiobooks rather than specific titles. But what we're going to do here is check to see if you are a corporate plant or a genuine audiobook fan by asking you some questions about your audiobook listening habits. Are you ready?
I'm very ready.
Oh, thank goodness for that. This is going to go terribly if you're not. Okay, so here we go. Here's your starter for 10. What do you do while you're listening to audiobooks?
I don't know where to begin because I listen to audiobooks all the time. My main moment for listening to audiobooks is when I'm getting ready for bed, and a lot of the time when I'm cooking, when I'm going for a walk. It's very much a multitasking kind of thing. Oh, it's also great when you're doing really boring chores, obviously. You've got to do cleaning the bathroom. It makes it slightly more interesting.
Are you headphones in, or are you a smart speaker person?
Very much a manual mini portable speaker when I'm at home, and then headphones in.
Really?
Outside.
That's
not
advanced.
Too antisocial.
Okay, so I think I can know your answer to this one. Do you count listening to an audiobook as reading?
Yes. I'm not snobby.
But it's lazy, isn't it? It's lazy, isn't it?
I think it's experiencing a story, and the best thing for me about it is you can just fit more stories into your day, can't you? Because if you can't read while you're hoovering, but you can listen to an audiobook if you turn the volume up.
I guess that. So, were you an audiobook fan before you got a job? Did you get into books, or did you have a desire for a career in audiobooks?
I started working in print books. I've always been a big reader, but I had always loved audiobooks. I started subscribing to Audible in around 2010. And I also started listening to podcasts before before they were cool. I was literally, I think I was 14. I would listen on my desktop computer to Mugglecast, the longest running Harry Potter podcast. It's still going.
No
and
way.
I've very much been in the audio kind of sphere for a large part of my life. And then I saw, I was working in print books, but I saw this job come up as an audiobook marketer. And I was just like, oh my God, I didn't know that job existed. That's my dream. And I got it. So that was good.
Fantastic. I think she's passed, Steve. What do you think?
To be able to do every single day of your life what you enjoy doing is a gift indeed. And but by the way, when you're hoovering, I can't recommend headphones highly enough. That just switch everything off. Yeah, the dog barking and important deliveries, important phone calls. Yeah, the full 9 yards really.
I'd just like to say that you said before podcasts were cool. I'd just like to point out that we are the moment where the podcast jumped the shark, frankly. We're trying to make them desperately uncool again. Here's a second level ninja audiobook consumer question for you. Have you ever given an audiobook as a gift?
I have, to my dad. I gave him A Promised Land, actually, by Barack Obama. He's still working through it 2 years later.
It's funny you should
He's
mention
still working
that.
through it. He's not finished it yet.
No,
it's 30 hours, Steve.
It's 30 hours, and he only listens in the car sometimes, so... But
when you give somebody an audiobook who's not used to the medium, I gave somebody an audiobook the other day, and I just went, "You haven't read it, have you?" And she went, "No, I don't really like the form." So I think when you give an audiobook as a gift, you have to accept that it may actually not actually go anywhere, and it's the gesture in itself, which I guess is similar to a real life book. I guess we've grown up, and that's the case now. Cool. All right. Steve, do you want to ask your question about changing the name of our podcast? Or have I won that argument yet?
I think we'll put that argument to bed because it feels very self-aggrandizing within the first 10 minutes of a podcast to say, well, Helena, thanants so much for taking the time to join us. What do you think? We want to change our name.
No, we don't want to change. You want to change our name.
Self-referential. Yeah, it's because there are about 100 Audiobook Club podcasts on there with the same name and stuff now. So it's we were sort of thinking, what should we do?
You'll know this. You're a marketer.
To talk about that.
You're a marketer and your job. And I remember receiving an email from, I don't think it was you, I think it was one of your minions. And it said, do you think you would be, thank you for featuring our audiobook. Do you think you would be interested in talking about audiobooks again? It's like, yeah, if you wouldn't mind. Is it no, I don't think it was. Is it a hard sell? Is it difficult?
It can be. I would say with publicity in particular, if you look at typical kind of newspapers, broadsheets and everything, they have established print book review spaces, but not very many of them have established audiobook review spaces. There are a couple. There's The Guardian do Audiobook of the Week and the Sunday Times do as well. Everywhere else is slightly ad hoc, so it can be a little bit difficult to try and pitch for those spaces when they don't exist and you're trying to encourage them, like, maybe do something a little bit different. But it's definitely becoming, over the last couple of years, I've noticed a lot more engagement from that kind of space and a lot more interest. So it's getting a bit easier, which is really exciting, actually.
Is there any mainstream radio about audiobooks? I haven't encountered any yet. Is there somebody that you have a speed dial at the BBC who you can talk to?
I wouldn't say anything regular. We have had a few interviews with some of our narrators before about audiobooks that we're promoting, but it's quite ad hoc. So we'll be pitching them to radio as like a standard interviewee. I think we've had interviews on Radio 5 quite a few times with Nihal Athanayaka, and a couple of times on Magic FM Book Club as well. But yeah, it is very ad hoc at the moment.
Those are both big networks. That's good news. So we've sat here and we obviously, as you know, our website, self-aggrandizing, moi. We have the website audiobookclub.net because somebody else got audiobookclub.com. The reason we use the hashtag audiobookclub so much is because any and all variants on Instagram and Twitter have already gone. But what we tend to find, we've seen them come and we've seen them go, Helena. What we tend to find is that people enthusiastically start this, and it's the play on words that pulls them in as much as the love of audiobooks, I think. And you normally get them building up a head of steam for 3 episodes and then disappearing off the face of the earth, because if you're dealing with A Promised Land by Barack Obama, that's 30 hours. And it's not like reviewing a movie. Is that one of the challenges that you have to deal with?
Yeah, I think from the journalists who we worked with, actually, I think some of them probably power listen to get through it, as they probably power read to get through books as well. Our main, I would say, challenge is that audiobook schedules, publishing schedules, are naturally later than book publishing schedules, because we have to wait for the final version of the text to be ready before we can record. And then we record and then we edit and all that kind of thing. And then the final audio files that are ready to be shared with a journalist are sometimes available much closer to publication than you would have with a print book. A lot of print books are sent out to journalists maybe 6 months before publication. We may only have a month or so, and that can be difficult for a journalist to then fit it into their schedule. So I think that's more the problem rather than the amount of time it can take to listen, because I think the journalists are quite dedicated in listening quite quickly.
Can I ask a question, Helena, around your day-to-day job at Penguin, and exactly how you produce these audiobooks? And so because we obviously, there are book clubs everywhere, aren't they? Regular book clubs, but with audiobook clubs, we focus on also the performance as well. It's not just the story, but it's also how making sure you've got the right narrator as well. How do you go about sort of selecting those and picking those off? So, our audio team at Penguin Random House is made up of an editorial team. They're called the editorial team, but really they're the casting team. We have a studio team, so we've got our in-house studios and in-house producers, and they're the ones who are in the studio with the actor. And we've got my team, which is the marketing and publicity team, and we're advertising and publicising audiobooks nearer to the time of publication. And we've also got our operations and sales teams who are making sure that those audiobooks are getting out to all of the retailers out there and making sure they look as good as they can on the page. So we're encouraging people to buy them. But the casting wise, it's an interesting process, because usually the casting editor will be reading the book first, obviously, getting a sense of the tone of voice and having a think about the type of voice that might work for this book. You start thinking about like age, gender, accent, all those kind of different elements that might feel right for the book. If the book is written from multiple perspectives, you might want to think about having multiple actors as well to really bring to life each of those characters. They'll then draw up a short list of potential names that they think would work, and they'll send those to the author to make sure that the author is happy with the kind of general direction we're going in. And so there may be a little bit of back and forth to tweak that list until the author is happy with everyone on there. And then it's a case of going out to the actors' agents and saying, are they available? Would they be interested in reading this audiobook? And once you've got the yes from the agent and the actor, then you book them into the studio. And that's where the hard work begins for the actor, because they I think always will have read the book first, obviously, to kind of prepare it in their own minds. But then it's on average about 3 full days in the studio, about 8-hour days in there with the producer, and that's where they're just sitting reading. And I've sat in with a lot of actors to kind of see the process, and sometimes we do some filming with them as well. And it's really hard, I think. Often if you stumble over a line and then you have to go back to it, then it gets in your head and you stumble over it again, because you're kind of trying to think, oh, I can't go wrong this time, and you do it again, and so you have to keep going back until you get it perfectly. So it's difficult work, but it's also really exciting to see it when it's done well, when they bring out all the voices, and they can be so dynamic. And that relationship between the producer and the actor is a great one to watch too, because they're really coaxing a good performance out.
One of the things that we have, and I wonder if this is even more exaggerated for you in the building, probably not you personally, but when we see the words read by the author, as a consumer, that's not always a good thing. And when you have a look on Twitter or Instagram, you often see an author going, my publishing house, obviously lesser publishing houses than yours, have hired me a studio to record my audiobook. Here I am with a music stand and a spotlight on me and a screen in front of me. And then after the first day, they go very quiet and you don't hear from them again. Is there there must be a certain amount of dread there for you as a consumer and watching your colleagues. Does read by the author, is it always a good thing?
It's interesting. It's an interesting question. If you look, now I'm going to do some marketing speak now. If you look at Nielsen BookScan, which is the big survey company that looks at book statistics, a really big factor for choosing an audiobook is because a book is read by the author. A lot of people really like that experience because it feels more authentic to them. So it's more people than you would think, actually. But then going back to your point around making sure that an author is the right person to read a book, we often kind of give them an opportunity to try it out. So we say, let us book you in for half a day, see how you go. And some authors do come out and say, I don't want to do the full thing. Fair enough. Some of them are happy to do it. And I think it's just a case of kind of working with them to help kind of manage their expectations around how difficult it will be, make sure they're prepared to do a full stint. So it's kind of I would say decisions are made on a case-by-case basis. Sometimes we'll have such a great list of actors that the author is like, oh, actually, it would be great to hear this person do it.
We were speaking to an author last week, so Michael Pronko. So he writes the murder mysteries set in Tokyo, and discussing, because of course the author has that voice in their head when they're writing the book. So they have a voice that's in their head when they're writing it. And so when they're involved in the process of selecting the narrator, in his case, the voice in his head when he wrote subsequent books after that first audiobook release became the narrator's voice rather than the voice that he had in his head, which was interesting to me because actually you can have that's why it's so important to select the right fit, isn't it? And you can think of the Rivers of London narrator, Matt, whose name escapes me for the moment.
Cobner Holbrook-Smith.
Cobner Holbrook-Smith. Sorry, I was just turning my microphone up. Cobner Holbrook-Smith.
I've got Helena sorted me out there.
Helen's faster than us.
Yeah,
it's not one of yours, though, is it? It's not one of yours, though, is it, Helena, that one? No. But
recording a different audiobook for us. That Reminds Me by Derek Owusu, and his voice is so incredible.
But Ben Aronovich said as well. He said to us that it was he now writes with Cobner's voice in mind. He also likes stitching Cobner up by making him have to do. I'm going to write a 16-year-old teenage girl from Belfast just to mess with Cobner. So he does that as well, which I find to be quite amusing. Steve, we better do this blooming book. I mean, I've learned a lot.
So.
We've had answers to questions we've been asking for a couple of years. From Helena, to be honest, and they're good answers as well. Yeah,
Helena's been very good.
Yeah, she's been the best on here so far. Helena's been amazing in terms of recommending us some books to recommend. So we'll carry on that vein and ask her at the end which one she would like us to read. Don't give her a warning.
Don't give her a warning.
No, we're going to test her. We're going to test her mettle. Yeah.
Forget I said that. It'll be completely spontaneous and just act all kind of panics and things. That'd be great. Thank you. Okay, then. So we turn to the book. So we turn to The Light We Carry by Michelle Obama, narrated by the author. And in this case, actually, because it's coming from, this is the experience of the author. I'm with you here, Helena. I really prefer it to be read by the author. There's nothing more heart-sinking when you're reading an autobiography or a biography of any sort when we get a foreword by the author and they just say, and now here's Colin Smedley to read the book. And you think, oh, really? I should have read that up quickly. But yes, The Light We Carry. So, Matt, if you want to explain the book in your usual inimitable style.
Yeah, Helena, just because you're new, so normally what we do is we have a look at the author and who that is. Then we look at the text, and then we look at the production itself and have a look at that. Have a look at how that sounds, the actor, and whether sound effects are inserted and stuff like that. So the author of this book, Michelle Obama, former First Lady of the United States of America. She was born in the 60s in Chicago. As she grew up, she was best friends with Jesse Jackson's daughter, and that exposed her to the world of political activism. She busted through and went to study at Princeton and then law at Harvard University. And when she was a high-powered lawyer with a Saab and a personal assistant at the age of 25, she had a new intake lawyer come in, and he was late on his first day of work, and that turned out to be Barack, as she calls him. So yeah, Barack Obama was late for his first day of work. The book itself, in the light we carry, I'm going to read the blurb. Former First Lady Michelle Obama shares practical wisdom and powerful strategies for staying hopeful and balanced in today's highly uncertain world. She considers the questions many of us wrestle with. How do we build enduring and honest relationships? How can we discover strength and community inside our... Do I have to do this, Steve? I'm not...
Sorry about that. Domestic.
I can do more.
I've had 2 domestic incidents in the course of this recording. My dog started barking after coming back from a walk outside the door, which will obviously be coming out on air. And then my brother needed to borrow the ironing board.
Do you know what? That's more interesting than this. Let me carry on. The Light We Carry offers listeners a series of fresh stories and insightful reflections on change, challenge, and power. You used the word challenge earlier, Helena. I like to use the word problem, because then you face it and get on with it. Including her belief that when we light up for others, this is brilliant, this bit. Including her belief that when we light up for others, we can illuminate the richness and potential of the world around us, discovering deeper truths and new pathways for progress. Save me now. I did not get on with this book at all.
That's hardly the attitude here.
I know. It's like one of my favorite YouTube channels. It's called Car Throttle, and it's about cars. It's a boy thing, and I watch it on the toilet. But I'm very engaged with the 2 presenters. They're very nice young men. And they started doing it in their shed and borrowing their mates' cars. And then finally they got their first official press car from Ferrari. And this was a really big day. And as a consumer, as a viewer, I was going, well done, boys. I'm really glad for you. And this is kind of the equivalent of that moment. We've got the senior marketing manager from Penguin Random House Audiobooks on, and I struggled with the book. Steve, rescue me.
Well, so I felt actually, as I was listening to this, and just listening to the introduction about being calm in uncertain times and everything being so uncertain, and it's important. And I think we all feel it, don't we, these days? You know, there's a level of uncertainty there. What? Stop laughing at the world's problems, Matt. Yeah, we've got a lot of problems.
Yes.
We have got problems, haven't we? Some more than others. And so actually to have this,
so polite. He's lovely. I just kind of man you could take home to meet your mother. So
yes, undermined while I'm reviewing. But she's like I found that she was like a bit like a balm. Actually, it was just a nice sort of kind of soothing balm. She's got a really nice mellifluous voice, I thought, actually, as a narrator in the book, and actually it overall felt to me like, you know, she's sharing her experiences on how she has held on to the light to carry through uncertain times. You know, what with, you know, obviously at the time she was writing it, she was talking a lot about the pandemic. She was obviously talking about Trump, you know, post, you know, what happened with him. But it didn't feel like, I don't think the war in Ukraine was kind of covered initially with this.
You haven't got to the end, have you, Steve?
The problems of piling. I didn't quite make it to the end, admittedly. It just got too boring. I'm only joking when I say that. Only joking.
Helena, what about
humorous effect?
You're here to sell this book for us. Did you enjoy it?
No, what a question to ask after that. You're here to sell this book and promote it.
She's not just a marketing manager. She's a senior marketing manager. She's got to earn her Yankee dollar.
I'll tell you what.
Come on, what you got?
when Becoming published in 2018, I was working on that audiobook campaign, and I was invited to Michelle Obama being interviewed live in South Bank. And it was, when she walked onto stage, it was completely electric. But when she was talking, she just came across as a very normal person who had just prioritized, firstly, kindness, but had also prioritized hard work. And she felt like a really attainable type of person. Like, you could easily be someone like that. Obviously, she did marry Barack Obama, and that's what elevated her to a world stage. We're not all going to do that. But as a person, she was very impressive. And so listening to The Light We Carry, I am not a self-help book type of person. I don't listen to that many or read that many. But I can still appreciate, that Michelle Obama has been through some very unique situations, and I'm open to learning a little bit of her perspective on that.
Very good. Like smooth, very smooth. I like it. All right, let's go on to the narration itself. It's interesting you say that it was electric when she walked into the room, but not quite as impressive when she, or not as, you didn't say it in a negative way, but I found that there's almost a bit where the cover of the book is fantastic, and she looks like some sort of goddess, and then you start listening to the text, and it doesn't. I tell you who's really good at reading audiobooks, yeah, and who is able to convey his charisma and electricity through the spoken word. Her husband, Barack Obama. Have a listen to this.
Since being elected, I tried to spend a few days each summer visiting various colleagues in their home districts across Illinois. Usually I'd go with my chief Senate aide, Dan Shulman, a former UPI reporter with thick glasses, boundless energy, and a foghorn voice. We'd throw our golf clubs, a map, and a couple of sets of clothes in the back of my Jeep and head south or west, winding our way to Rock Island or Pinckneyville. Dan was my key political advisor, a good friend, and an ideal road trip companion. Easy to talk to, perfectly fine with silence, and he shared my habit of smoking in the car.
He admits to smoking in the car. That's genuine charisma. That's and the expression in his voice. You gave this book to your father. It's quite cool. You didn't know I'd lined up all these clips, but isn't it fantastic?
It's like destiny.
But no, you could shill for the Barack Obama book now. Well, isn't it fantastic?
It is. It's brilliant. I remember I read the book because I don't know why, I wanted to read it myself to know that I could read a presidential memoir. It took me about 6 weeks. And then I listened to the audiobook and I just flew through it because I found it so engaging because of the way he narrates it. He's got gravitas, but he comes across as a friendly, slightly humorous kind of person, and it works really well.
There's warmth, isn't there? But also the kind of thing, you're in the presence of some sort of superhuman who's not like us. It just... Whereas I found her to be quite cold.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
You've seen her in the flesh.
1.5 speed because I found her quite slow.
Yeah.
And 1.5 speed is working quite well for me.
Yeah, and I should imagine there is an aura about her, absolutely. But when I read her autobiography, which was called Becoming, her pronouns are I and me, I think. I don't know. I found it, and you have to be careful saying things like that. I don't want to cancel or anything, but I just found her to be, well, sorry, this is really bad, but not as good as him, because his stuff is amazing, and I will go back and I will do. I don't do things twice, but I would happily do A Promised Land again, or just go and dive in and have a little random bit of it. But I have to say I wasn't impressed by this at all. I'm very sorry.
I do wonder though, actually, Matt, but I think possibly Barack Obama's book and Michelle Obama's books may be for different audiences. And I think potentially some of the audiences that that maybe will really resonate with Michelle Obama's might not so much with Barack and vice versa.
Yes. Yeah. But the interesting thing is that, yes, hers is for a specific audience, but I think, Helena, you'd agree, his is for everyone, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I would say that he does get bogged down in some details about economic policy and health policy that are quite dense. And they are...
That's when you start hoovering.
yeah, exactly. That's where you're like, okay, what can I do now that slightly takes my mind off the economic crisis? So there are some bits of his that are slightly less accessible, I think. But I felt with The Light We Carried that it was I think her audience in mind was kind of teenage girls, honestly. Like, she has a really great relationship with teenage girls kind of in a lot of the work that she does. She's really focused on promoting like girls' education, and I just felt that a lot of her advice was very much kind of with them in mind. So probably weren't exactly the audience that she was aiming for.
No, I'm beyond help, to be honest with you. All right, now, Steve, I think we should turn this around. I think I want to find out, first of all, what Helena's excited about coming up, and then I want her to send us off to read something. What do you think?
Yeah, sounds great. So, Helena, Penguin, Random House Audio have got a raft of upcoming publications. What are the highlights for you that we should be listening to and downloading?
Well, my main passion pitch at the moment is Terry Pratchett. So for the past just over a year now, we've been re-recording 40 of Terry Pratchett's Discworld novels. And I've been completely immersed in it, and it's included like most people in our team. And so it's been a huge project. But basically, we have been releasing batches of titles across the year. And we've had actors including Andy Serkis, Colin Morgan, Bill Nighy, Peter Serafinowicz, Indira Varma. You can see I've learnt this by heart.
This is great. Can I just say, Helena, obviously, as we're recording this podcast, to make it easier for ourselves, we're looking in cameras. Can you describe what happened to Steve's face when you said that? Did you see what happened there?
I did. It was a look of wonder. I loved it.
Well, you know, he's
got no words. He's always got words.
I think it's fair to say, Matt, that we kind of have our preferred genres, don't we, in terms of books and audiobooks. The sort of the fantasy, the sci-fi. I really like that stuff. I love things like, I don't know if you've heard Sandman on Audible,
of course,
with Dirk Maggs. So we spoke to him about that and how he created this sort of movie for the ears, and with the cast you've just mentioned there, it kind of, because I've never really been I've not been a Terry Pratchett fan at all, actually. Not because I didn't like it. I haven't had a go at it. Really, win me over, Helena.
Basically, obviously, there are a lot of Discworld novels to get into. So what we've done is we've divided them up into kind of mini sub-series, and we have cast one narrator per sub-series to make it, a little bit more accessible for people who maybe don't know where to start with the audiobooks. But there's a couple of things that like unites all 40 of the books. One of those is the voice of death, which kind of interjects throughout quite a lot of the books. And so we've cast one person to be the voice of death throughout all 40 audiobooks. So that is Peter.
Can you say who it is?
Yeah. Oh,
yes, that's a good one. He was Darth Maul, isn't he? Yeah. He's good at those things, yeah.
Yeah.
There's that sketch, isn't there, on his show where he's an estate agent, and the guy doesn't want to buy the house, and he suddenly turns from being a really nice, really polite, affable person to just going, "Did I ask you? Did I ask you?" in that voice. It's really, really good. Just turns on him. Yeah, great, brilliant.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
So he's death. Yeah.
Yes, he's death. And then there are footnotes, again, kind of interspersed throughout a lot of the books. And they've very much become to be seen by fans as like the voice of Terry Pratchett kind of interjecting. And so we cast Bill Nighy to read the footnotes across all titles. And he is a massive Pratchett fan himself. So he was really excited to be involved. So we've kind of got those two voices uniting everything. And then each other sub-series has its own kind of main narrator as well. So we've also had music composed specifically for the books by James Hannigan, who's an award-winning composer who did music for Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings video games. So he's very much well-versed within that kind of fantasy sphere. So they're just incredibly well-produced, outstanding productions of these beloved novels. And yesterday we released a few new titles. So we had Richard Coyle narrating 3 books in the Moist von Lipwig series. We've had Catherine Parkinson, who stars in the IT Crowd. She's my personal fave. She's reading a book called Monstrous Regiment. And then Matthew Bainton as well. He's in Ghosts. He created Ghosts and is one of the ghosts. And he is reading The Truth as well, and they all published yesterday. So I recommend any Terry Pratchett book that we have published recently. We've also got Alfred Enoch, who stars as Dean Thomas in the Harry Potter books, but also he stars alongside Viola Davis in How to Get Away with Murder. And he's reading a book called The Pyramids, coming out on the 30th of March. So that's
and these are all Terry Pratchett books?
All Terry Pratchett, yeah.
Wow, okay. So I'm completely uninitiated here. So yeah, they're sort of speaking to a very much a brand new convert.
Yeah,
okay.
My recommendation would either be Equal Rights, which is a great first book, or Monstrous Regiment as well. They're both really fun books that kind of play with fantasy tropes that you might know of the tropes, and they really play with the idea of them. And it's really, really great books.
There you go, Matt. We're reviewing a bit of fantasy. That's good, isn't it? Yeah. There you go. Come on, then. Bit of Pratchett.
I've never quite been able to wrestle or hold down Terry Pratchett. I need to give it a go. And Helena, your enthusiasm is infectious, and I shall look forward. And also,
before I worked on these books, and I'm completely converted.
Cool.
Helena, did you ever see Good Omens on Amazon?
Yes, I think I really enjoyed Neil Gaiman's stuff, and I actually only listen to his audiobooks because I love his voice. It is magical. And so I was kind of getting into his audiobooks, and then Good Omens came out, so I was like, I got into it then. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
cross-contamination, I think that's called. Yeah.
Well, there is, isn't there? The pair of them wrote Good Omens together, didn't they? Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman together. So yeah, there's the crossover.
Helena, give us something. I want to learn something. Better me as a human being. Give me something non-fiction that will make me a better person.
Well, how about Atomic Habits, which is one of it's constantly in the top 5 Audible bestsellers. And it is basically, it's a really useful way of changing your habits. And the guy who wrote it, he works on the philosophy that if you just change by 1%, that's 1% better. And then once you're kind of established there, you can change another 1% and get 1% better. And he worked with the British cycling team, and he used this theory to say, if we make everything about your performance 1% better, that's going to be exponential growth. And they went on to win loads of awards. So he's got a good theory.
Cool. What is the last thing that you downloaded for pleasure?
The last thing that I downloaded for pleasure, I'm currently listening to The Girl with the Louding Voice, which is not a Penguin title, so I can show that I am not always on brand. It's narrated by Adjoa Ando, who she's probably best known for playing Lady Danbury in Bridgerton, but she has recorded so many audiobooks, and she is brilliant in this novel as well.
She's great, isn't she? Yeah.
Yeah. But then one I've been re-listening to recently, which I think is my all-time favourite audiobook, is The Heart's Invisible Furies by John Boyne. And it's narrated by Stephen Hogan, who is just incredible in this book. He does narrate quite a lot of audiobooks, and he just brings the characters to life in a way I never would have if I was reading this book. And it is funny, and it is heartbreaking, and the characters are so completely realised in my mind because of his portrayal of them. I have listened to this audiobook 3 or 4 times over the years. I completely love it, and it's always my main recommendation for anyone who's not listened to an audiobook before, because I think this is a masterclass in narration.
I think she passed the test, Steve. What do you think? I think she's a genuine human being and a genuine audiobook fan.
A proper person. It's nice to have a proper person on the podcast.
She's not just a corporate shill. Yeah.
Helena, thank you so much for your time today. Will you once we've reviewed one of your books that you've recommended, will you come back on and we'll discuss it?
Sure thing.
If you want to.
Talk about any of it for days.
Fantastic. Cool. There we go. Thanks again, Helena, for joining us. Really great to get the insight into how Penguin Random House audio works as well. And looking forward to reading a little bit of Pratchett, Matt? Don't go diverting onto any of the other books that Helena suggested. We're going to do Pratchett next time. There we go. That was The Light We Carry, Overcoming in Uncertain Times by Michelle Obama.
No, it wasn't.
It was.
No, it really wasn't. I would recommend A Promised Land by Barack Obama. We may have recommended it before, but frankly, the senior marketing manager out of office, Penguin Random House Audiobooks, gave it to her dad, and it's 30 hours long. And I think that's what we've learned today, isn't it, Helena? That Barack Obama's book is very good.
It is very good. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. And your dad needs to do more long-distance car trips, doesn't he, really, to get through it? Yeah.
Honestly. He needs to pull it out.
You can't just go to Tesco's and listen to 7 minutes. You'd be chipping away. Chipping away for ages. Anyway, that was The Light We Carry, Overcoming Uncertain Times by Michelle Obama. And also A Promised Land by Barack Obama in the end, basically. But Overcoming Uncertain Times, The Light We Carry, narrated by Michelle Obama, comes in at 9 hours, 59 minutes, and the publisher is Penguin Random House Audio. Thanks again, Helena. Matt, we'll see you again next week, and we'll get our noses into, and our ears indeed, into Pratchett.
Thanks, Steve.
Since 2011, American Giant has been making everyday clothing with extraordinary effort. Not in far-off factories, but right here in the USA. We obsess over fabrics, fit, and details, because if you're going to wear it every day, it should feel great and last for years. From the cut of a hoodie to the finishing of a seam, nothing is overlooked. Our supply chain is tight-knit and local, which means less crisscrossing the country and more care in every step. The result is durable clothing, t-shirts, hoodies, sweatpants, and denim that become part of your life season after season. This isn't fast fashion, it's clothing made with purpose by people who care as much about how it's made as how it fits. Get 20% off your first order with code STAPLE20 at American-Giant.com. That's 20% off your first order at American-Giant.com with code STAPLE20.